Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat pagi. Yang saya hormati Encik Hamzah Fansuri. Terima kasih di atas peluang yang diberikan kepada saya untuk bercakap pada pagi ini. Saya juga nampak profesor, ada beberapa orang profesor bersama-sama kita. I can also see Prof. Loh from UPM is here as well. Prof. Loh merupakan pengarah UCTC dan juga University for Society KPT. Alright, rakan-rakan daripada USM, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan yang saya hormati sekalian, pertama sekali saya mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kerana bersama-sama pada pagi ini. And what I'm going to say this morning is not anything rocket science. All right, it is something that I think you are aware of the thing. It's just that sometimes we may do things differently. Alright, okay. But otherwise, committee, when talk about committee engagement, ia merupakan sesuatu yang semua orang buat. Everyone is doing it. There is no right way of doing it. There is no wrong way of doing it. Alright, but it's just the degree may differ. Alright, so dia ada yang one off, dia ada yang what do you call one off bersifat one off ataupun dia bersifat lama sedikit and things like that. Okay, now I'm just going to go through the slide. Defining impactful project. Now, why do we need to come up with impactful project? The answer is very simple, because we want to make a difference. All right, we want to make a difference in people's life. We want to make sure that it benefits everyone. So this is the reason we have to come up with impactful project. Now, coming from the university, as we all know, all right, we have to do things differently, right? Because we need to come up with something very scholarly, because ia akan mencerminkan, okay, kesarjanaan yang terdapat di universiti. All right. So the overview of my presentation would be, one is, what is the purpose of doing community engagement? All right, so people would question us, why is the university bothered about doing community engagement? We will answer that afterwards. And then we are now in a very changing world, especially now with the pandemic around. Okay, so the new normals has brought community engagement to another level. Okay, and then the trend of CE are also changing. All right, it's not like the conventional way of doing things where we go, people have problem, we go, we settle the problem, that's it. All right, it's not like that anymore. So what we need to do is we have to move forward. Okay, and then I will also be giving you some definition of impact. What do I mean by impact? And then I will move on to impactful community engagement. All right, what do we mean by impactful community engagement? And then I'll give you some examples of types and indicators of impact. And then answering the question of why impact matters. All right, CE is CE, so why do we bother about the impact so much? Okay, it's to some people, what they think is they just do CE, they just do project and things like that. The impact does not matter to them, because the impact is something is another story altogether, which should not be the case. And then what are the current tools to measure impact? All right, and then USM solution towards impactful community engagement. All right. Okay, CE is done to enhance innovation and provide solutions that addresses societal issues. Okay, so this is very important. All right. Now, enhance through innovation, meaning that means at our level, in order to solve and address societal issues, there must be a very sustainable way of addressing the issue. All right. So, in other words, here at the university, what happens is that now there's a lot of research work done at the university. So, what is this research work if it cannot be translated to benefit the community, which I think is very important. All right. So it enhances innovation at the university level because you want to make sure that you can solve people's problem. Purpose of CE. All right. Most of all researchers are motivated by the fact that their research would make a difference in this world. Yes, this is the most important thing. You want to make a difference in this world. One is the next thing is you want to make sure that people benefit from your work. All right. So this is your contribution towards nation building. This is very important. All right. And then to make a difference is to create an impact. Okay. So that means if the project is not impactful, then might as well don't do it. One. Second thing is other people are doing CE as well. It's not just us at the university. So what is the difference between us at the university doing CE and other people doing CE? So if we feel that, we want to do CE, then we have to make sure that we do it and do it well. Because that is the function of the university. This is part and parcel of our USR, University Social Responsibility. So we have to understand this fact. All right? All right. So in other words here, the new dynamics of CE. All right. The new dynamic of CE is one is about new knowledge revolution. All right. So it's about knowledge revolution, whereby when we do something, we think of some solution. The solution has to be very innovative and creative. Okay. Now the second thing is we want to make sure that innovative research work is translated well into the community. Like I said just now, at the university, there's a lot of research going on, research work going on, but the problem is if it cannot benefit the masses, then I think we have failed in our duty to do CE. All right, social connectivity is we get other people to be involved. Yes. Okay, we get other people to be involved in this project, so we build social connectivity. So that means stakeholders, other stakeholders coming in and so on and so forth. And then we are talking about evolutionary programming. All right, that means we are moving into another phase of CE, whereby what you call digitalization is going to be the way forward. So this is all the new dynamics of CE, and we have to also understand all this. Okay. All right. Now the next one. All right. Now when we talk about connectivity and so on and so forth, we are also talking about how the right way to approach everything. So in other words, here is the engage approach. This is the approach that we use, pendekatan yang kita guna pakai dalam usaha untuk melaksanakan program dan proses community engagement, libat sama community. Alright, so vision setting is very important. We must develop a vision with measurable objective. This is very important. Ada setengah kadang-kadang kita buat, we develop a vision, but we fail to take into account the how we can measure the objective that can be tracked and updated throughout the process. So this is very important. Otherwise, how can you know whether the objective is met or not? All right, and then mapping and analyzing to identify priority stakeholders, in particular the hard to reach, and understand what their interest is or influence on the city project may be, and how to effectively to communicate with them. So in other words, we have to also understand the community that we want to assist. All right, you have to really know them, and you have to really know their background, and we have to understand that if every community has their own way of doing things, the culture is not the same. So you all have to look into this before you start with any CE work. And then we have to design and implement, okay, designing and implementing. Now we have to make sure that when we design and we want to implement something, we need to select key tools and techniques for the engagement of identified stakeholders, okay? And then we also have must have feedback and evaluation, all right, to help you evaluate the impact of your engagement approach in achieving its objective and strengthening relationship between stakeholders. All right, so this is something also very important to ensure impactful CE. All right, like I said before, the world is changing with incredible speed. So in other words, everything changes very fast. We also have to change, okay, faster than what the changes is getting on. All right. For example, now when we do things, we see tools for the 21st century. For example, in education, for example. So digitalization matters. All right, because of the pandemic, things are then children cannot go to school, students having problem with their homework and whatnot. So we have to introduce online. So this is, all these changes needs to be addressed in order for us to cater for the future. So I think this is very important. All right. Okay. Now, so regardless to say, okay, knowledge needs to be transformed. All right, to make a difference, and fundamental are here to stay. All right, so our focus on new normals, impactful and innovation project. One is addressing wealth and income disparities. A lot of people losing jobs now. All right, so what are we doing to address this issue? All right, a lot of people are waving the white flag now. Okay, so are we just going to have a look at the flag and not do anything? All right. So these are issues that needs to be addressed. And then when we talk about development, it has to be development for all. All right. The restructuring the economy to be more progressive knowledge based on high value with full community participation at all levels. Now people are talking about Shopee. People are talking about what do you call Lazada and things like that. Are we not going to be part of this? Are we saying that community has no right to be part of this? All right, these are the questions we should be asking ourselves. So what happens now is that we have to make sure that all these development that is taking place, okay, the progress that is making its route, we have to understand that all these how can all these benefit the community? All right, so these are some of the questions we need to ask. All right, and then united, prosperous and dignified nation, building Malaysia as a united, prosperous and dignified nation, and subsequently becoming economic powerhouse. This is where we are heading. All right, and how to reach this? Well, we have to make sure that everything planned, everything implemented has to get towards this. So it's not about, doing things for the sake of doing things. All right, CE is not like that. That's why you need people who are very passionate about CE, all right, to do CE. Okay, it's not any Tom, Dick, and Harry can do it, all right, for the sake of doing it. No, it's not right. Okay. Now, when we talk about university social responsibility, all right, we are talking about improving social and well-being of the community. All right, so the aim is to foster openness and understanding and providing sustainable solution to societal issues. All right, so that means we have to decide. At the university, we have to decide whether we want to be solution provider or we want to be service provider. If we want to be service provider, then forever we are not going to to solve much. But if we are talking about solution, sustainable solution provider, then issues get solved. And this is our major concern. All right. And then the other thing is USR is commonly seen as voluntary university practices that improve university standing and benefit society through innovative initiative. Like I mentioned just now, the scholarly part of CE is at the university. All right. So that's why it is important that we do it and we do it well. All right. So when we talk about creative community engagement, all right, so we need to understand this. All right, what turns people on CE? Okay, now we have to move away from consultation. So if we are talking about profit, we are talking about making money, then I think CE is not for you. All right, so we are talking about it's a voluntary basis, on voluntary basis. That's why at GYM also we don't encourage people to claim honorarium and things like that when they do CE, because this is will defeat the whole purpose. To make sure there is a lot of engagement with the community, make sure that community understand what we want to do with them. So you have to treat your community as partners. You cannot treat your community as an entity that is inferior to you. All right, so that's why I've been saying this all along. I don't believe in prescriptive CE. Prescriptive CE is like this, you know, this is good for you, this is not good for you. I know what is good for you because I come from the university. So that shouldn't be the way. So we should treat them as partner because we have to liaise with them. All right, because sometimes we coming from the university, we feel that we know everything, and we approach the community, we feel that we know more than that. All right, which is not true. At the end of the day, the project fail. Why? Because that's not what they want. All right, that's not what they need. So you have to understand that item analysis, needs analysis, not item analysis, needs analysis needs to be done first before anything. All right, so there must be meaningful interaction between you and the community. All right, we have to make sure there is a prime mover in the community that can work along with us. All right, and there are many ways of solving issues. All right, so this is something, and also you have to environment. That means immersive environment, meaning that means you have to be with them, together with the community, to make them, and at the same time to move things together. All right, so you cannot give the impression that you are there. All right, it's you are there to work with them, not for them. So they have to also understand that. All right, so that means when we talk about the CE, we are not just talking about, you know, things at the university. We are also talking about things at the community level. We are also talking about things, you know, at the stakeholders level. So there are different perspectives. There are different ways of thinking, different ways of doing things and things like that. So you have to get the buy-in from everyone to make sure that we move together. All right. Okay, so if we cannot move together in harmony, I think we will have problems. All right. Okay. Now, keeps people involved. I think this one I will not touch much on this. I think you know very well. Happy then they are okay with it. All right. And then why do people get involved? Because sense of purpose is there. They want to be part of something. They see the value and the value of that particular something. So I think this is very important. All right. Now, when we talk about built-in community engagement, we have to understand it has to be on continual basis, and it's not just a one-off exercise like I mentioned just now. All right. Okay, this is not consultation work, and we also involve other people in it as well. Okay, now this one I will not touch much on this one. Okay, the 9-step model of community engagement. All right, so first of all, you need to reflect and strategize. Reflect and strategize means you have to, like I mentioned just now, you have to understand the community, you have to understand the project. You must know your project. You cannot just be doing it for the sake of doing it, like I said, and then you have to strategize and strategize well. Now, strategy here refers to what? For example, who's going to be, your partners, who is going to be your stakeholders, where is the funding from, and so forth. And step 2 is identify and engage stakeholders, listen to them. Okay, what are their problems? How can you solve the problem? All right, so you engage them. Step 3 is define the community. Now, is the community, willing to be with you, or the community is, okay, you do it, we'll just watch and things like that. So this is another issue that you need to understand, because if the community is not going to be with you, I think you will have a lot of problem. Okay, so kita tak mau shock sendiri punya program sahaja. Okay, next one is collect and analyze data. You may have to do some sampling here and there, things like that. You have to have the data. For example, in our case, some of the project, socio-economic projects, so we need to know how much are they making now, so that we can have a benchmarking. If we are to increase or supplement the income, how much more should, sufficient for them to live sufficient enough. All right, so all this you need data. So you have to analyze all this. So if, for example, if we are to do a project with them, and at the end of the day, they are just going to benefit, or the supplementary income is just going to be 100 ringgit, I think you have to forget it. Okay, because it's not enough. So you have to also understand what is the the current, for example, poverty level. Okay, this one. So you need to consider on many things. All right, I will show you later afterwards of how I do the impact studies and whatnot. All right, and then step 5 is prioritize community health issues. Okay, if they are health issues. All right, it can be education issues, it can be other issues as well. Step 6 is document and communicate results. Okay, and then step 7 is plan implementation strategies. Okay, so implement strategies, the next one, and then you end up with, you evaluate the progress. All right, you need to see, because if the project does not progress well and things like that, so you need to introduce intervention. And this is very important, because intervention will actually, well, we are not saying that all project will end up, very successful and things like that. Along the way, there might be some hiccups here and there and things like that. So what you need to do is introduce intervention. So intervention means you have to make sure that the intervention introduced is something that is worth introducing, because at the end of the day, if the intervention cannot benefit the project, it cannot, make sure that project progresses, then I think the project will fail. Okay, we do not want that to happen. All right, now when we talk about partnership, okay, so we are talking about why do we need to collaborate? Okay, why do we need to collaborate? So, well, simple reason. One is to open lines of communication. Now, sometimes you may not have what you want, so but other entities has it. So if they come and be part of that project and things like that, so it solves a lot of problems as well. All right. For example, if it's agriculture-based type of project, then maybe you should have the Jawatan Pertanian. Okay, the agriculture department to be part of your program, things like that, so that they can solve some of the issues there. So that's why you need to have partnership, and then interconnectedness leads to shared knowledge, resources, access to others, like I mentioned. enhances complementary characteristic and resources, so it becomes more integrated. All right, so that means more people involved. You share the KPI and things like that, and then pooling of resources help increase reach. Yes, all right. You may not have the resources, but others have that resources, so it helps. All right. Permit collaboration towards common goal. Everyone wants to help people, so why not you allow that? All right. So you cannot be working in silos. What we are trying to say here, you cannot afford to be working in silos. You need to collaborate with people. Identify doers and active community members eager to make an impact. All right. So this is very important because they're going to be the prime mover in the community, and further solidifies trust and interconnectedness within the community. All right. So what happens now is that we want to make sure that it's what you call worth the effort. Okay. When we talk about, I have already mentioned just now, all right, that CE is actually, it's about partnership, all right. It's about mobilizing relevant resources and strategies, all right. So it's about engagement, partnership, coalition, and sustainability, and voluntary participation, and so on and so forth. So this is our what do you call definition of community engagement, all right. Now, trends of research are also changing, all right. When we talk about research, because at the university, what happens now is that we are talking about research done at the university. So research done at the university needs to be translated into the community. So when we talk about the translation of research into the community, so that means we have to make sure the research done at the university gears toward solving societal issues. For example, increased productivity due to usage of advancement in digital era such as artificial intelligence and hyperconnectivity. All right, so we are moving towards that. How AI, all right, can help solve community issues. We are moving towards that. And then we are talking about transdisciplinary or multidisciplinary approach. So that means in one project, there can be 4 or 5 academicians in the project. This is how I do it at USM. So it's not just about one person benefits, what you call contributing. It's about many experts in the project. So it makes the project more focused. It makes the project more stronger. It makes the project, carries a lot of strength. All right, with the advent of digital era, we are talking about accessibility to ideas and data. All right, and then we are talking about information sharing. We are talking about linking research priorities to demonstrate impact. All right, okay. So this is what the funder is looking for. If you're talking about getting funding, all right, which I think at USM we have been very fortunate enough to gain the trust of our funders. All right, how do we gain the trust of our funders? By having good project. By having good project. Well, not necessarily having good project. How do you define good project? We are talking about the implementation, the planning. We are talking about not just the planning and implementation, the governance of the project also very important. So these are the things that we need to look into. So it's not just about coming up with good project, but if you fail in the implementation, it's no point. All right, so you have to understand that good project that means it comes with, one is the governance. All right, money. When you talk about expenditure, what to buy, what not to buy, you buy from a shop that A shop is 20 ringgit, but you can buy from B. If you buy from B shop, it's 15 ringgit. So do you go for the 20 or the 15? So answer is very simple. You go for the 15 one. So it has to be the integrity must be there. You cannot just, because it's not your money, it's funder, you have funding and things like that, so just spend anyhow you like. Cannot. All right, so you are looking about the impact, and you are also talking about the ROI, not ROV, the ROI, return of investment. All right, so this is very important. Now, so at USM, what we are doing is we what do you call develop? We have developed what we call the social progress assessment. All right. So the main aim of SPA to assess the expected return of social intervention project. SPA relates to the form of interaction, collaboration, and governance that will lead to a new form of social transformation. All right. Now, it consists of a broader multi-platform approach, which include multidisciplinary, social innovation, sustainability, and entrepreneurship. All right. So what happens now that it will facilitate stakeholders' engagement with the bottom billion. Now, the SPA, therefore, okay, it will focus on developing the indicators that will assess the return of social intervention undertaken by various stakeholders. All right. So, so when we talk about indicators here, all right, it's the development of indicators is divided into two stages. One is the development and testing of indicators, and the second one is the evaluation of indicators and implementation. All right, so this is also very important. All right, so we have developed this. There is already a system existing in USM. This is what we do. All right, the expected social returns from SPA, for example, okay, improvement in educational performance among the household. Okay, we have a project. Okay, the project is Stingless Bee project, Madu Kelulut. Okay, so we talk about improvement in the human capital. Okay, reducing social problems. All right, and then we are talking about what do you call cost of shelter program, ADK. That means we have actually helped to save a lot of money, the government a lot of money. For example, you know, when there is improvement in educational performance, reduce the gap, the B40 gap, a financial gap and whatnot, improving student attendance in school and whatnot. So what happens is that now the what do you call they don't have, when they have things to do, they have extra supplementary income and things like that, so they do not belong to the miskin tegar category anymore. All right, the core poor. So what happens now is that so JKM lost, I mean what do you call, save a lot of money. And we are talking about the student, you know, going to school, does not get involved in drugs and whatnot. So ADK rehabilitation program, they don't have to go through that. You know, we also save money from the children going to Henry Gurney School and whatnot and things like that. All right. So these are some of the I will not go into detail about the SPA. All right. I just give you some what you call idea, all right, of how we measure impact as far as or social returns as far as our project is concerned. Now, how do I define project? Impact. Okay, impact is defined as an effect on change or benefit to the economy, society, culture, public policy or services, health, the environment, or quality of life beyond academia. All right, this is based on the Research England definition. Now, the Australian Research Council define impact as a demonstrable contribution that research makes to the economy, society, environment, or culture beyond the contribution to academic research. So, reality check is traditionally assessment of impact is focused on academic impact. University, what else? All right. So it's about publication, it's about conferences, you know, it's about scopus, it's about ISI journals and whatnot, and so on and so forth. But in reality, impact is measured by indicators of change outside universities and research institutions. This is very important. We are talking about how many people have benefited from the project. How many people have, we are able, to progress from our project and so on and so forth. All right, so when we talk about impact, we are talking about CE beyond academia, so it must be demonstrable, that means evidence-based, like I said just now. Implies impact, as impact implies changes in people's life, yes, all right. They might include changes in knowledge, skill, behavior, health, or living condition for children, adults, families, and communities. So these are result-driven kind of impact. We are talking about impact with shift from pure research excellence towards a focus on research dissemination and awareness of the effects on a wider society. So it's everything is about beyond academia. It's not just about one is academic impact, all right? The other one is social economic impact. So which one are we talking about? Well, we are talking about both. Traditionally, the university, we are talking about academic impact, meaning that we are talking about papers and whatnot, things like that. But now, I think it's more than that. We are moving towards not just the academic impact at the university, but we also have to position the university in such a way that the university is able to contribute back to society. Because after all, universities, especially public universities, are sort of what do you call? They need to contribute back to society. All right, because the existence of universities is because of the community. So we have to give back to society. So indicator of change, when we are talking about indicator of change, we are talking about environmental, attitudinal. I think I've touched on this just now, will not bore you any further. The academic impact I was just talking about, all right? So I think basically this is what we are trying to do, okay? Why does impact matter? And why do we need to measure impact? All right. Now, one is helps to focus on overall purpose rather than the process of research. Okay, we want to make sure that the overall purpose of doing that project is met. If the project is to help the poor or to increase the level of education, okay, have we met that objective that we have proposed? All right, if we have, because CE, you do CE for a purpose. All right, it's not just you want to do CE for the sake of doing CE. No, you do CE is because there is a purpose of doing it. You want to help the poor. You want to, for example, educate those who do not have the education. You want to increase their socio-economic, what you call, status and whatnot. So there must be a purpose. All right, and then to make change in the real world beyond academic. So it's not just about teaching. It's not just about world university ranking, but you want to make sure that we move beyond academia. It helps to ensure best return on investment and value add, return on investment, ROI, and value add, for institution to attract more students, more researchers, and more donation. All right, not more donation. I shouldn't be using the word donation. I should say more funding. All right. So by reducing the barriers between those producing research and those that can apply to make change in the real world, okay, now we will be in a better position to face and tackle the grand challenges in the 20%. All right, so it's about getting grant. So how do you get grants? Well, first of all, you need to have good project, impactful project. How to have impactful project? Well, like I mentioned, you have to have what it takes to come up with a what you call impactful project. Okay, and then you need to measure impact. The 4 A's. One is advocacy, helping and gaining support. All right, accountability, showing what has been achieved. Analysis, finding out which approach is more effective. Allocation, considering an appropriate investment. Some people, they like to hike, okay, their project price. All right, so it's not about hiking project price. All right, so it's coming up with the right budget. All right, how budgeting plays an important role in getting funds as well, because people, every cent count. All right, every cent count, every ringgit counts. So you have to make sure the money given to you is well spent, the money given to you is well allocated, and you know, make sure that it doesn't go to waste. Okay, funders are very what do you call concerned about this, because they do not want this to become a sort of a consultation type of project where honorarium, pay honorarium to the funder, to the principal investigators and whatnot. You know, in this particular case, it's not PI lah. We are talking about project, program and whatnot. So they will be looking for all this. In other words, is usually the complex interaction between academic community with the rest of the quadruple helix. All right, we are talking about imperative that we increase the impact of research in the real world rather than simply within the academic community. I have mentioned this many times. Changing trend for research is moving towards real impact and not expected impact. Yes, very important. Okay. The future of research is looking for KRI, key result indicator impact, rather than KPI. So this is very important. So we should shift all this. We have to understand all this. We cannot just, you know, do CE without understanding the whole process and governance of CE. All right? CE is not a difficult thing to do, but if you're talking about impactful one, then you have to do it and do it right. And this is what I'm trying to emphasize here. I'm not concerned about doing CE. Doing CE is no problem, but I don't do CE. All right. What is more important for me is I design projects. All right. I consider myself as a designer. I design projects, and when I design project, I have to take into consideration many things. It's just like you design a building. Architects design building. So when they design building, they have to take into consideration many aspects. So the same with CE. When you design CE, community engagement project, you have to understand. You have to start off with good planning, and then you move on to effective, and then you have intervention. All right, if impactful intervention. You have to have innovation. You have to make sure that everything is taken into account, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for whatever outcome the project, gathers. All right, so this is something that you need to ponder on. You need to understand. It's not about doing CE. It's about how you can, design. All right, so you need to change the mindset. Right, so you need to have a very a mindset towards impactful CE. All right, so to change, we need paradigm shift among researchers or CE and policymakers. How research is to be conducted. All right, so you need to understand this. Skill required for performing impactful research or community engagement. New ways of dissemination of knowledge. All right, new promotion criteria. We are talking about research funding, also need to change with new thinking about how impact is demonstrated and evaluated. And the other one is criteria used for university ranking also needs to change, i.e. The university impact ranking is SDGs. All right, so most of my project, we what you call, we base on SDGs. All right, so because we feel that we need to contribute towards, and I think this is the way things are moving now. All right, and mind you, USM is very strong in SDGs. All right, so we are number 39 in the world. All right. Okay, so how do we measure impact? So many researchers are incentivized by the institution to prioritize publication over impact. All right, so that means we are talking about publication. Routes to impact, right? We're talking about report, age index, citation, scopper, whatnot, and everything else. But if you maintain quality publication, it will lead to quality result outcome eventually. All right, and then a distinct way of assessing real-world impact is through narrative-based case studies or by looking at tangible outcome, impact evidence that can be recorded or reported via impact trackers and module within university system and how it linked to university governance. So it's like this. For example, how many people have we helped? How many people have we collaborated? All right. How many children gets to go to school? How many people join the program? So all these number figures, all these figures, all right, would definitely bring about a lot of changes to our project. Okay, so this is how we measure impact. So we need to understand. So that means children before they don't go to school, but with this program, how many students or how many children has gone to school? All right, how many children? I mean, for example, we have. I'll give you an example afterwards. You know, of how this is measured. All right, so I will not elaborate now. I will leave it to when we come to. You know, I will showcase some of our success stories. All right, okay. So when we talk about collaborative model approach, okay, assimilation of knowledge and diversification of research funding, right? So all these are very important. So we talk about past, it's about knowledge transfer. The present is about knowledge exchange. The future is about knowledge assimilation. So with all these, all right, research that allows alternate sources of fundings. Okay, so we have to make sure that well, the quadruple helix model remains, and all this is how we move about in the future.
Maaf macam Tuan Syed, ada
Yeah.
request untuk tanya soalan daripada Dr. Rosli.
Boleh.
Dr. Rosli boleh.
Okay, Assalamualaikum Tuan Syed.
Waalaikumsalam, Prof. Ya.
Okay, Tuan Syed, saya ada sedikit persoalan dan soalan ni agak sensitif. Okay, ini berdasarkan bila Tuan Syed menyebut berkenaan dengan policy maker.
Ya.
Okay, saya banyak melakukan pemerhatian dan saya rasa cara pelaksanaan di peringkat, saya tak mengatakan di peringkat USM, tapi di peringkat kementerian dan policy maker adalah tidak berkesan. Okay, kerana mereka contohnya Jabatan Pertanian, Felda dan ada beberapa agensi lain, saya melihat mereka melantik orang tengah iaitu kontraktor untuk menjalankan projek CSR, manakala grant dan kewangan adalah daripada mereka. Okay? Bila ada orang ketiga, ia melibatkan conflict of interest because they want to make money out of the project.
Yes, betul.
Okay? And we don't really do a total empowerment to the people that's supposed to do the work. Because these people will take the money and they will give low quality product or they will give a very poor service to these people as long as they deliver what is minimum requirement of what they're supposed to deliver. Okay, saya ambil contoh, contohnya Chili Fertigasi. Okay, banyak kontraktor yang dilantik supposedly untuk projek melibatkan community engagement, Mereka contohnya supposedly they have to provide everything, okay? Including the pemasangan dan segalanya, tetapi mereka pandai apabila dengan orang kampung, mereka hanya bagi apa yang perlu dan dia kata, oh, kalau untuk pasang tuan boleh pasang sendiri, kita bagi duit lah dalam 200 atau 300. Sedangkan kalau kos pemasangan akan mengambil masa dan yang agak panjang dan juga mungkin memerlukan kos ribu.
Ya,
Jadi saya rasa kita perlu perbetulkan di peringkat untuk kita memastikan supaya kita betul-betul melakukan empowerment yang sepenuhnya dan projek itu berjalan secara betul dan sustainable. Kita perlu perbaiki di peringkat itu. Ya, itu pandangan saya lah. Jadi apa pandangan Tuan Syed berkenaan masalah yang kita hadapi sekarang?
Okay, thanks Rosli. Terima kasih banyak di atas soalan yang dikemukakan. I think there's two ways of doing it. Okay, apa yang berlaku dengan projek-projek yang kita buat di USM ini adalah satu ialah kita bersama-sama komuniti. That means kalau kata kita nak buat hive, Mustafa hive untuk stingless bee itu, so what happens is that kita boleh bekerjasama dengan komuniti. So what happens now is that we bring the community in. We also make sure that okay, kita bagi specification on how to do it and things like that, dan kita make sure kita berada bersama-sama mereka semasa this one berjalan. So we want to make sure that okay, dia macam ni. So that means we will have a team of people yang betul-betul mahir dalam pertukangan untuk bersama-sama kita. So apa yang berlaku ialah kita sub kerja-kerja tersebut, instead of engaging the contractor, kita bagi pada orang kampung. But we strict monitoring from our part. Okay, that is one. The other thing is sometimes ada kerja-kerja yang kita memang tak boleh buat secara sendirian. We have to engage what you call the contractors. In our project ada juga yang nak buat what you call rumah perprosesan dan sebagainya. So of course, alright. Tetapi we have to make sure that our expertise dan sebagainya ada dalam situ. We have to make sure semasa they build and things like that, we have to make sure that they ikut spesifikasi yang diberikan. Dan purchasing of this one kita akan monitor. Okay, that means kalau dia nak beli, dia contractors, they want to this, they have to bid for the project. Okay, so kita akan pastikan bahawa dia, projek itu akan sepatutnya memenuhi, kontraktor itu sepatutnya memenuhi apa yang kendak kita dan spesifikasi kita, but at the same time, it's not too expensive because we know. Okay, we know and we survey berapa harga setiap barang yang dia nak beli dan sebagainya. So with that way, we are able to control payment dan sebagainya. So kalau kata dia tak siap, kita bayar dia progress payment. Kita tak bagi semua sekali pada dia. So when you do things correctly, we pay. If you don't do things correctly, you correct first, then only we pay this one. Otherwise, we will not pay. So kita that's why I say the design and implementation of our CE needs to take into consideration that of all those Prof. Rosli. So kita kena faham bahawa we have to know, that's why I have project managers. Okay, I have project managers who is in the field all the time. Okay, so dia akan di station di tempat-tempat yang sepatutnya dan they know. Okay, apa-apa approval untuk pembelian dan sebagainya can control by us. So kita akan tahu sama ada harga ni banyak mana and things like that, we will know. Alright, so that's one way of how we control. You are right. Sometimes masalahnya when we talk about government entities and things like that, they tend to provide half-baked solution to societal issues. All right, so we do not believe in that. We want to make sure that when we provide solution, it has to be a wholesome and very holistic in nature. So that means we take into consideration many things. Betul, dia ada kerja lebih sedikit, tetapi it's worth the effort lah. Okay, does that answer your question, Prof. Rusli?
Terima kasih Tuan Syed, sangat-sangat menjawab. Terima kasih.
Saya
Thank
Tuan
you.
Syed, saya tambah sikit. Tuan Syed, saya
Ya.
tambah sikit.
Boleh.
Zul kat
Boleh.
sini. Okey, Dr. Rusli.
Ya, Dr. Zul.
Kita boleh tengok dalam aspek ini, bila permasalahan yang Dr. Rusli utarakan itu menyebabkan banyak agensi sekarang ni membuat ada kecenderungan bekerjasama dengan industri. Itu sebenarnya peluang kita. Sebab itu kita boleh tengok teraju semua datang ke industri mencari, sebab kita mempunyai accountability dan traceability yang tinggi dalam pelaksanaan projek. Jadi sebenarnya dalam aspek sekarang ni, kalau kita dapat menyediakan platform dengan gerak kerja yang tersusun dan audit yang kita kata monitoring sistem yang lengkap, banyak agensi sebenarnya nak datang nak bawa projek kepada kita. So sebenarnya permasalahan yang diutarakan oleh Dr. Rusli sebenarnya adalah peluang bagi kita as academia. So money is coming kalau kita dapat buat dengan baik, sebab masalah yang Dr. Rusli bagi tahu tadi. Tambah sikit saja Tuan Syed. Terima kasih.
Ya, thank you Dr. Zul. Dr. Zul adalah salah satu daripada kita punya panel lah, panel of expert yang kita ada.
Terima kasih.
Alright, thank you Prof. Rusli. Ya. Alright, Cik Hamzah ada soalan lagi kah?
Buat masa ni tak ada Tuan Syed. Tapi saya menarik
Okay,
problem is a solution. Macam ada nampak kesinambungan kat situ. Okay, Tuan Syed boleh teruskan.
Terima kasih Cik Hamzah. Okay.
Sementara tu Tuan Syed, kalau masih start, kita ada soalan kedua daripada NN. Tuan Syed, bagaimana kita nak make sure community is ready to accept and use our technology?
Now, preparedness. Alright, you're talking about community preparedness. Of course, community preparedness ini kita kena faham lah bahawa that's why you need bonding, alright, with the community. So without bonding with the community, I think it's kind of difficult for you to expect them to just terima apa yang dilaksanakan. So they need the preparedness is through kita bagi dia, for example, capacity building punya session dan sebagainya. So this is very important lah. Okay, so it's not just about doing things without dia macam ni lah, katalah dia dalam komuniti nelayan. So you nak bawa dia pergi kawasan kilang sebab nelayan, work of nelayan not lucrative anymore. So when it is not lucrative anymore, so you have to do some retooling to them. Alright, so sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But you have to understand that whether work or not, they have no choice because the it's not lucrative anymore. So apa yang kita buat retooling lah. So that retooling, I think, will eventually provide them with the basic knowledge. The reason they don't want to do it is because they don't have the knowledge. You cannot blame them also. Kita because the bonding is not there. Dengan masyarakat kampung ni, you have to understand bonding is very important. The trust and the faith they have in you is also important. Sebab pada mulanya macam projek-projek kita nak bawa ke kampung, things like that, macam projek Dr. Zul ke Lulut tu, kita nak bawa pun, at first it was very skeptical. Okay, people not too sure because they have been doing that, they have been doing it and they have been doing it orang kata without having much success. So when you come in, you bring in this one, so you have to tell them, this is how we are going to do it. Alright, so that means dia tengok something yang baru. Okay, so sekarang ni apa yang kita dah buat daripada dulu orang kata harga pasaran what you call madu tu adalah RM40 ke RM60 sekilo. Tetapi with the the innovation introduced by Dr. Zul dan a lot more, alright. So now harga dia dah RM100 per kilo. Alright, so that means there is an increase in their this one. Itu belum lagi yang final product. We are talking about raw product sahaja. So when we talk about the export punya product, it's going to harga 1 kilo RM560. So these are the things that we need to take into consideration when we design the thing. Alright, so example of measuring impact, macam saya kata tadi, progress is mapped out against SDG. Alright, universities have to provide evidence on how goals are incorporated in the governance and accountability. Alright, so it has to be evidence-based lah. Alright, okay. The next one is disseminating research and creating awareness among society. Alright, so that means you have to develop research awareness. People must make sure that all these must start from research. Alright, so it's not about just nak buat community engagement saja. Because you being in the university, the scholarly part is very important. Alright, so because this is crucial to create research impact. Alright, and then we must also able to create visibility, alright, and make sure that apa yang kita buat itu terlaksana dengan baik dan sebagainya. Alright, and then our way forward is I will also share some of our success stories. Alright, in order to ensure success of Malaysia's vision, prosperity vision 2030. Alright, the ecosystem and equip our talent with relevant skills that are in convergent with nation economic development plan, and in order to enhance value chain of our product. So that means kita kena tengok. I will explain to you sekejap lagi. Alright, this is the engagement at USM, how we do it. Alright, so it has dalam project. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Rokia from UKM.
Yeah, Dato'. Yeah.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam, Dato'. Yeah.
I really like and I really believe in what you've said so far setakat ni, and we've always communicated.
Setakat ni.
Well, all along, yes. Saya tertarik pada model yang Tuan Syed mention. Cuma saya rasa kalau Tuan Syed tambah satu lagi perkara that will enhance even better. This is saya punya cadangan lah, which we also believe in that, the UKM. Exit policy.
Yes, correct.
That's one thing which I think we have to incorporate in our community engagement dalam mana-mana bidang, because we do not want to be there all along. So we must have exit policy dimasukkan dalam kita punya planning supaya kita boleh let go and they can sustainable, dan seterusnya kita boleh help more community. Itu saya rasa satu yang kita jangan lupa lah. From that's my suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you Dato'. Yeah, you are right, very right, things like that. So selalunya dalam projek-projek yang kita laksanakan, the hand holding will take some time, tetapi dia akan we will only be there for 2 years. Alright, 2 years meaning that means kita dah capai kita punya objektif lah. Alright, tetapi we have to make sure objektif tercapai, tetapi if the exit policy criteria does not met with kita punya ni, then we cannot leave. Alright, so that means we have to make sure the exit criteria must be there and should be fulfilled before we exit. So kalau dia memenuhi, then only we can exit. So the criteria, we have built the criteria. Thank you for mentioning that. Yes, that is very important component of CE as well. So we do have that, but it's just that I didn't mention it. Okay, cuma I think like I say, tak jauh mana apa. I think UKM is also doing very well in CE. Alright, under the stewardship of Prof. Dato' Rokia. Alright, I'm sure a lot of people know Dato' Rokia very well also. So kita, yes, very important that we have that. Okay, any other question? Dato', does that elaborate on this one?
Yes, I think I strongly believe that we need to prepare exit for the community, and we have to achieve what we plan together with the community first before we can exit totally. Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dato'. Alright, I'll just move on. Okay, this is how this one is done at USM. Kalau kita tengok, alright, the shared value, what you call kita ada shared value canvas yang kita ada di sini. Alright. So this is how it's quadruple helix. It has to be based on purpose. We have also delivery approach, the four-phase engagement. This is very important, the four-phase engagement model too. And then we are also leveraging on shared value concept. Okay, apa yang kita nak, apa disasarkan daripada translational research. Daripada situ, it moved down to creating businesses for communities. We are talking about creating improved business condition dan sebagainya. Utilization of innovation by community, and then what do we expect to achieve kalau kita tengok di sini. So everything establishing, implementing, monitoring, evaluating sustainable quality cooperative partnership with communities. I think this is very important. Integrating all form of community engagement within the teaching and learning and research activities at the university. So CE is not separate from, let's say, research. CE is not separate from teaching and learning, things like that. So we try to incorporate that into our system. Nurturing existing and promotion of new community engagement initiative, yes. Okay, kita galakkan. USM ada dana. I think I'm very fortunate because the university has a lot of faith in me. The university will allocate, okay, at least sometimes, every year around 500,000, okay, for me to do CE, apart from outside grants and things like that. So university has been generous towards my initiative. All right, so this is the bonding I was talking about just now, all right, between the institution and the community. You need to have bonding. Kalau tak ada bonding, I think masalah. All right, okay. Does your project work in parallel with SDG and university policy top-down approach? Yes. All right. We have to make sure all this happens. All right. And then we are talking about CE implementation framework. So this is the framework that kita laksanakan di USM. So it's purpose-driven, like I said. So the driver can be institution, it can be from the community, it can be government agency, it can be the industry as well. So purpose, it can be value driven, it can be demand driven, or it can be both value and demand driven. So so when we talk about demand driven, all right, so we are talking about demand driven is a need originating from community or any government agency. So they come to USM, they say, okay, we have this problem, can you solve it for us? This is demand driven. Now, the other thing is we have value driven is initiative by institution, meaning that means kita ada projek-projek yang memang boleh memberi manfaat kepada masyarakat luar. For example, katalah sistem filtration, water filtration punya machine whatever, okay, yang boleh kita guna semasa banjir dan sebagainya. So that this is ada nilai. So bila ada banjir, so we will bring that to the community. So this is value driven. Ataupun di community tersebut dia tak tahu nak buat apa, dia tak ada apa, but we have a success story of projek-projek yang kita laksanakan, we bring it to them and replicate it there. So kadang-kadang you don't have to start from scratch. Apa yang penting ialah if it can be replicated, then let's just replicate. Macam Datuk Rokiah kata tadi, So that means we go to the community. Alright, value demand, dia ada both. Dia ada value dan dia ada demand juga. Driven is defined as condition by which the need is initiated by institution and government agency, industry as a team. Alright, so this is ada soalan kah? Ada. Program project begins with identifying the problem statement dan sebagainya. So this is how it's been done. So this is the four-phase engagement model yang kita laksanakan, yang kita guna pakai, yang kita pelopori di USM, dan so far it has been quite successful, alhamdulillah. Alright, so kalau kita tengok SDG dan the national agenda, then we have the institutional agenda. This is what we base it on. So kalau kita tengok, we identify the strategic alliance, alright, and establish engagement effective, and then we identify viable project, and then kita design and develop a plan to transform ideas into impactful outcome, and then we have monitoring and evaluating. This is very important. Alright, this is how it's going to be. Kalau kata dia dia daripada community, then the demand driven is like this. Kalau kata daripada government agency, dia punya flow is like this. Dia punya institution, the value driven, dia punya flow like this dan sebagainya. So dia berbeza-beza. Okay, now I want to give you some example of some of our project yang kita laksanakan. Okay, yang ini socio-economy project yang kita laksanakan di Sarawak. Okay, produk lada. Alright, kalau kita tengok, it started off with innovation for community. Alright, translational research, scale up project and things like that. So sekarang ni the innovation for community project ni dia dah almost selesai. So we are moving to the next fase, that is sustainable marketing smart ataupun smart project. So kita dah buat sustainable marketing expansion. So apa yang sekarang kita buat adalah we are moving into international punya pasaran. So our product is going to go global now. Okay, US, Taiwan, China, Japan, and Saudi Arabia, to name a few lah. Alright, so we have in the pipeline, we have Australia. Alright, we are talking about New Zealand as well. So far, the first shipment will dah keluar. Okay, end of this month dah keluar the first shipment to US and to Japan. Alright, so Alhamdulillah. Alright, so these are the project yang kita laksanakan. Okay, the Innofosi punya summary. So kita ada 284 participants, 66 new jobs created. Alright, so that means increase 50% in terms of income. Kita ada 68 innovation yang telah kita introduce dalam projek itu. 19 downstream project created. Kita ada 22 academician involved, multidisciplinary background, and then we have 12 different local agencies participating in that program. And then so far within 5 years we managed to secure 26,760,000 ringgit in terms of funding. Alright, so kita kalau tengok, these are the 10 projects yang kita laksanakan di Sarawak with an allocation of 8,550,000. Alright, the 26 million total within this one is the ROI. Sorry, this is not the funding, this is the ROI. With 8 million funding, okay, actually 8 million ini is the Innofosi. So we have another 7 million from Smart. Okay, Smart kita ada this one 7 million, so around 15 million, things like that. But the return of investment yang kita calculate is going to be about 26 million. Alright, so this is what funders wants to see lah. Dia nak tengok yang tu. Okay, this is our smart community. Macam saya kata tadi, Saudi Arabia, Japan, US, China. So current revenue generated di baru 5 bulan sahaja. Okay, the export dan sebagainya dah nearly 500,000 lah. Alright, yang kita dapati 233 scale up Bumiputera businesses benefiting from it. Kita ada 7 companies, 4 international companies and 3 one-stop centers yang kita work together with. Alright, 5 different countries. 7 Sarawak indigenous product from Smart Community with 28 SKUs has been marketed internationally. 4 local product with 11 SKUs, alright, registered in Saudi, United States Drug Administration. So we follow all the regulation, okay, all the regulation and standards yang diperlukan and things like that. So we are quite happy with this, alright. So kalau later tuan-tuan dan puan-puan ada produk-produk yang nak di this one, boleh we can talk and see how we can this one. Alright, okay. This is a list of our products yang kita laksanakan. Okay. So Stingless Bee Honey, Dr. Zol, kita ada sambal tomis, gula apung. Gula apung yang ni Unimas. Alright, Unimas. Alright, these are some of our products yang kita buat dengan Bayu. The packaging, as you can see, is international punya standard lah. Alright, so these are white paper yang kita hantar ke US. Alright, So yang ni education, project education, kalau tuan-tuan dan puan tengok, alright. So kita ada 2 projek, satu bawah Empower, NCER, okay, yang satu lagi bawah ICU, alright. So far we started off with NCER, 2 projek tahun lepas, and the school did very well, the student perform very well, things like that. So as a result, NCER has given us another 5 tempat untuk kita laksanakan. So now we have 7 altogether. Alright, okay. ICU also, so far we have been successful in getting funding for program pembangunan pendidikan keibubapaan, Early Childhood Enrichment Program (ECE). Alright, so they have given us $500,000 to do this as well. So kalau kita tengok altogether, we have received around 3,105,000. Okay, so 3,516 beneficiaries. Student mula-mula fasa 1 340, fasa 2 1075. Alright, parents pun sama. Teachers we have around 48, and fasa 2 150, coaches USM 236 195. So numbers play a role lah in making sure that it all happens. Alright, success story 100% pass in SPM, best achievement 10A plus. Sorry, 10 A's. Alright, 100% KPI achieved, percentage of pass and enrichment 20%. Alhamdulillah. Alright. Okay, so yang ni adalah program yang saya bincang, yang ICU summary 600. I mentioned 500 tadi kan, ini 600, sorry. Alright, so this program yang kita buat dan kita laksanakan di masjid-masjid juga. Alright. Alright, so these are some of the success program yang kita laksanakan. Alright. So I think basically that's it from me. Thank you very much. I hope everyone enjoyed the talk, and I hope this is not about teaching and do anything like that. I think orang yang ada dalam perbincangan hari ini, dalam talk saya hari ini adalah yang hebat-hebat belaka. Alright, so it's not rocket science. If I can do it, I think you can also do it better than me. Alright, so billahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alright, Cik Hamzah, over to you.
Salam. Okay, baik, terima kasih Tuan Syed atas perkongsian yang sangat bermanfaat dan sangat ada banyak input lah untuk kita sama-sama dapatkan. Jadi sementara itu Tuan Syed, kita ada soalan yang disimpan. Jadi pertama sekali, soalan sambungan daripada tadi, daripada saudari NN atau saudara, saya tak pasti, tapi daripada yang soalan tadi, bagaimana pula untuk kita tackle community motivation so that they can keep engaged with us instead of money driven? Okay, first of all, we have experienced that also. Saya tak nak cakap lah di mana yang kami mengalami masalah tersebut. Di mana dia tengok macam kita, satu ialah kita dapat grant. Okay, bila kita dapat grant, dia merasakan bahawa kita mempunyai banyak wang lah untuk kita taburkan kepada mereka, which is not the right thing to do lah, the right perception actually. So what happens is that we must make sure that we say no, we don't have that much money and things like that. What we want to do is just we want to make sure that you earn enough to make money. So you have to give them that guarantee. So you must make sure, tell them that okay, kalau kita buat macam ni, you explain dia, kita buat macam ni, harga dia akan jadi macam ni. Dan bila harga yang jadi macam ni, okay, yang ni dia punya discount. Dan we have to make sure that kita set up a koperasi di tempat yang kita laksanakan bersama-sama mereka. So I think we don't blame them for that also. Okay, satu ialah they don't have that capability, financial capability to do it. Alright, that's okay. We say we will help with that financial capability. We want to know what is the problem. Dia kata okay, masalah dia nak dapatkan udang. Udang yang buat belacan tu, udang yang kecil-kecil tu. Okay,
udang baring ke?
Bukan kau orang, bukan udang baring. Geragau, yes. Okay. So you say okay, Kalau macam tu, that is your problem, okay, kita akan solve that problem. We will buy for you and things like that, dan kita make sure that, you know, yang lain tu kita akan spend untuk packaging. So we explain to them bagaimana kita nak buat. So eventually dia tertarik. Okay, so I think the most important thing is for you, one is to gain their trust. Satu, yang keduanya, how do you gain the trust through you tengok projek-projek yang ada impact. Sebab apa, kalau kita tengok all these community people ni, dia pun pandai. Okay, dia pun pandai juga. So jangan anggap kata dia tak tahu, dia tahu. So what you need, that's why I say you need to treat them as partners. So when you treat them as partner, you explain to them, this is how we have to do it. Alright. Satu lagi is you tackle the prime mover. Alright, the prime mover, if the prime mover is a ketua kampung there and things like that, somebody that is very respectful, okay, respected, I should say, a person who is very respected in the community, so whatever this person says, they will listen to. So that's how we move lah. Okay, that's why projek-projek, kalau you tengok kita di Sabah dan Sarawak, okay, tetapi kita ada di Penang USM. Okay, so what do? I have local people, okay, as project managers. Alright, so they do things for me. Right? Okay, so to explain dan sebagainya. So that's how we move lah. Okay, does that answer that question? Cik Hamzah?
Okay. Mungkin kalau saudari atau saudara NN nak tambah soalan tambahan, boleh buka mic, boleh tanya juga. Untuk yang lain-lain, untuk peserta kita pada hari ini, kalau ada soalan lain pun tak ada masalah, boleh buka mikrofon dan tanya soalan. Sebelum yang lain-lain sediakan soalan, mungkin boleh ada soalan yang kedua daripada...
Bukan tadi yang tanya soalan
tu. Saya macam ada dapat tadi. Ada siapa-siapa tanya soalan ke?
Ya.
Oh, bukan. Okey, jadi ni soalan yang seterusnya.
Ada ke?
Ada.
Ya.
Tuan Syed, bagaimana jika projek tersebut berkisar tentang sukan di mana PI nak capacitate B40 youth in Penang untuk ada proper futsal training and facilities? PI akan cuba dapatkan volunteer untuk train the youth etc dan dapatkan kemudahan USM for the training session. Saya rasa it's under SDG for youth and well-being. Mohon pencerahan Tuan tentang initial idea ini.
Well, idea ni saya rasa okay. Alright, because it wants to tackle youth punya problem. Okay, so I think satu program ini dia tak melibatkan dana yang besar pun. Okay, because what you need is just for the youth to participate in this program and the use of USM facilities. That shouldn't be a problem. Tetapi you have to make sure that when you design the program, alright, the program is designed in such a way that it will bring a lot of good to the children. It's not about main futsal saja. What are the other things that you want to achieve dalam projek ini? I think that is more important than the futsal itself. Alright, how do you want to change them? Okay, when you talk about changing them, you must also talk about, you know, the kind of changes that you want to happen. Alright, adakah you nak lahirkan pemain futsal bertaraf antarabangsa? I don't know. Alright, so adakah you di samping permainan futsal tu, you ingin menyelesaikan masalah keremajaan ataupun jenayah di kalangan pelajar dan sebagainya. Okay, so you must make sure that it's properly designed. It's not about futsal. Dia tak kisah sama ada dia futsal, sama ada dia education program, socio-economic program, dia no problem. The most important thing here is how you design the thing. Dan bila you design the thing, apa yang you nak achieve. Dan what innovation you want to introduce in your project. So jangan sangka kata when we talk about futsal, dia tak ada innovation yang you are going to introduce. So there must be some element of innovation that you want to introduce. So yang ni yang penting. This is what the scholarly aspect of it must be in there lah. Sebab kalau setakat nak main futsal saja, orang luar pun duk main futsal. Yes or no? Tetapi kita nak pastikan bahawa apa yang kita laksanakan akan terhasil dan membawa hasilan. The outcome must be something that is of value, mempunyai nilai-nilai. Alright, there must be value to whatever you want to achieve, to the objective. Yes. Ada soalan lagi ke?
Ada Tuan Syed.
Ya.
Saya akan cakap sebab untuk rakaman bunyi suara je, untuk chat ni tak keluar kat rakaman. Jadi kita ada soalan daripada Encik Muhammad Nur Hazim. Soalan dia, jika dilihat kepada outcome yang ditunjukkan contoh tadi, banyak outcome yang boleh diukur seperti bilangan peserta, teratus pendapatan, lulus gagal, cemerlang dan lain-lain. Jadi adakah penaja tak tengok outcome kepada industri seperti penerbitan, RO, RA dan lain-lain? Jika dilihat grant KPT juga lebih mengutamakan outcome yang boleh diukur kepada komuniti. Adakah ini trend semasa?
Okey, Cik Azim ni dia boleh tanya saya dalam bilik ya. Dia saja nak tanya adalah. Okey, dia nak tanya apa sekali lagi? Bagi saya soalan tu macam mana? Trend dia macam tu?
Trend grant KPT.
Okay.
Jika dilihat dia lebih utamakan outcome yang boleh diukur kepada komuniti.
Okay.
Sebab kalau ikutkan kalau tengokkan outcome kebanyakannya boleh diukur kan. Jadi ada setengah perkara macam penerbitan, RO, RA dan lain-lain ni dia pun tak ada sangat, tak ditekankan sangat dalam pengukuran outcome daripada grant. Jadi ni adakah ini satu-satunya trend semasa buat masa ini? Dia tak tengok sangat lah, kayaknya grant komuniti dia tak tengok penerbitan, RO, RA dan lain-lain.
Okey, dia macam ni lah. Dulu ni CE ni adalah sesuatu yang kurang mendapat perhatian daripada masyarakat maupun masyarakat universiti maupun masyarakat luar. Alright. Disebabkan oleh orang merasakan bahawa this is not rocket science lah. Alright, this is not something that cannot be done. That's why I think you have to change that perception. Alright, so you need to change the perception. How do you change that perception? Dengan melahirkan dan melaksanakan sesuatu yang berimpak dan mempunyai nilai yang besar. Alright, so that's why seperti yang saya katakan tadi, you need to have innovation in your project. Nilai yang sangat tinggi bila you ada innovation dalam sesuatu projek. I give you one example. Kalau you masuk kampung, you nak suruh orang tanam padi, okay, so dia kata kat sini you pergi balik lah. Because apa? They have been doing that for ages. Alright, tetapi kalau you masuk kampung, you kata, okay, saya ada cara baru untuk menanam padi. Dia tak payah tanam di bendang tetapi dia boleh tanam dalam polybag saja. Ataupun saya ada spesies baru yang boleh kita laksanakan dan dia boleh dituai 4 kali setahun. Then they become interested. Alright, but if you just go into the community and say, saya nak ajak cara tanam padi, so they're not interested lah. Tetapi if you have like 4 times harvesting punya type of padi planting, so dia kata okay lah, dia berminat lah, because that will increase dia punya orang kata dia punya capability dan juga dia punya to supplement the income. So you have to understand it's about kesinambungan satu kehidupan. Alright, so how do you facilitate that? Okay? Yang miskin kita nak perkayakan. Kalau tak kaya pun at least senangkan. Alright? Yang bergelap kita nak terangkan misalnya. So this is our effort. This is what we want to do. Kan? So dia kena tengok yang tu. Sebab apa? You cannot blame them for being poor. Sometimes you know you say dia orang ni memanglah they just want to be poor and things like that. It's not that. They just don't have the means to do it. They don't have the knowledge to do it. So educate them. Give them that knowledge. Give them that skills. So when you give them that skill, the knowledge and things like that, then baru dia boleh bergerak. So that's why in our project, kalau kita tengok in our project, at first dia pun tak skeptical, dia pun skeptical juga. Sebab dia ingat macam kita ni pergi nak janji kosong kepada dia. Tapi bila dia tengok the next, kita move to the next stage where we start, you know, building the rumah pemprosesan. Dan kita tengok kalau dia punya temperature rumah pemprosesan tu boleh dikontrol daripada USM dan sebagainya. So dia tengok, oh, this is something very good. Dan dia tengok cara-cara kita, dia nak kalau dia nak dry the pepper for example. Dulu dia letak atas tanah je. Dia letak tikar, dia letak atas tanah sahaja. Alright? Anjing, ayam semua lalu things like that. That's part and parcel of it. Dia okay. Tapi sekarang kita kata no, you have to do this. Kita buat tray pada dia. Alright? Kita ada rumah pemprosesan. Dia ada tray dalam tu. So dia letak the hygiene issue we have also tackle and things like that. So when that happens, they start realizing this is how they should be moving. And when they understand that, now everything don't have problem. That's why sekarang kita produk-produk kita boleh kita hantar untuk export already. Alright, dalam masa tak lama pun, dalam masa less than a year, we are able to transform the communities already in terms of mindset dan juga in terms of perception. So sekarang ni everyone, macam Dr. Zul punya the innovation things ada. Dulu dia tak minat lah sebab RM40 1 kilo. Sekarang ni dah 100 1 kilo. Everyone wants to do it. Alright? So this is how you move. The innovation part must be very, very strong. So like saya kira lah projek apa macam saya kata tadi, futsal pun mesti dia punya ROI tu mesti ada. Dia punya design tu mesti ada. Kalau tak ada design just nak buat tak boleh lah. Remember, we are designers. Alright? Kita bukan hanya just do it. Okay, alright?
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam. Yeah.
Tuan Syed, there is Sarah here from
Yeah,
your
yeah.
office.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, how are you? I was just wondering, speaking on just now that you mentioned mindset, right? So I was wondering, and then you mentioned that not everyone can be involved in CE. So could you elaborate further on that based on, reflecting on your own experiences? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think basically it's like this. You need to be passionate about doing CE. Passionate ni dia, when you are passionate about something, so you go into detail. Alright? So kita ada a few people dalam kita punya kalangan ni yang CE based person. We have Prof Bala, ada Dr. Zul, Dr. Zul ni dia ada dua. Zul OKU, Dr. Zul OKU dengan Dr. Zul Kululut. I have to differentiate kan. So they based on project lah. Tapi these are high flyers lah. Kita tengok Prof Adam pun ada. Prof Adam is, somebody yang very community based person juga. Okay, so what happens now is that you have to be passionate about doing CE, community engagement. Otherwise dia macam ni lah. Kadang-kadang kita tengok orang miskin ni semua orang yang bersimpati. Semua orang kata, oh kesian. But how many people did actually go and help? Alright, kesian sahaja tidak cukup. Tetapi apa yang perlukan ialah the right way of helping them. Helping, yes. Helping ramai juga yang orang akan membantu. Tetapi helping the right way. Alright, helping the right way untuk kita selesaikan masalah yang secara sustainable lah. Okay, so ada juga cara yang tak sustainable yang kita boleh. This one of course lah, sekarang ni the bendera putih thing is coming up. Okay, so orang tak ada makan, things like that. So you nak pergi bercakap pasal CE kat dia pun not interested lah kot kan. Sebab apa, dia Sagi punya lunch pun dia tak tentu lagi dia ada makan tu tidak. And you are talking about CE kat dia. So kita kena faham lah. So that's why I say you boleh bagi bantuan kat dia. At the same time, you have to think of ways on how to make sure that dia akan keluar daripada kategori tersebut. Alright, so you have to make sure that apa-apa problem yang ada tu needs to be solved. Alright, so itu penting lah bagi saya lah. Alright, so that's why I say Puan Siti Sarah, it's you have to be passionate about it. Passionate means kita nampak orang susah, so we have to think of ways of helping them. Then only it is right. Alright, and of course helping is one thing, tetapi kita nak kena fikir how to solve that problem. That is the designing part. Alright. So because apa, kalau kita design kita tak betul, then the house will collapse. The foundation is not strong, then it will collapse. So it has to be very strong. It has to be very innovative. It has to be very creative. Yang tu penting lah bagi saya. Alright, okay, thank you. Ada soalan?
Okay, Tuan Syed, ada soalan. Ni saya dah listkan. Ada 4 soalan lagi. Okay, salah satunya daripada UMP daripada Dr. Nurul Hazlina. Terima kasih Tuan Syed, a very nice sharing indeed. From your experience, what was the most challenging phase in doing community engagement, implementation, identification of project, impact measuring?
Okay, I think Dr. Hazlina, thank you very much for the question. So I think the most challenging part is to get the buy-in. Alright, getting the buy-in baik daripada university, funders, community, and other entities untuk bersama-sama kita tu, it's very challenging. Sebab apa? Sebab people, are skeptical of how and whether we can achieve the thing. I think this is the perspective yang kita nak kena kita ubah. Alright. So how do we do it? Through impactful punya ways of orang kata convincing people. Yang ni kita kena kena belajar persuasive punya communication lah. Alright, so how you do it, macam mana, funders, you nak dapat funding tu, it's not easy also. Okay, so funding without funding is kind of difficult to move. Alright, so the most important thing is that lah. So challenging dia, the challenges are that. Alright, it's not easy to convince people of doing good things because they don't ingat macam charity, because they don't understand. Alright, so university pula kadang-kadang dia fikir ada publication ke lah, do you have publication, what can be from this and things like that. So we have to convince lah. So at the end of the day, bila universiti tengok, wow, actually CE ni boleh bawa masuk grant lah, banyak grant lah. Then they start to open their eyes. Alright? So then you get the buy-in. So I think the most important thing is to get the buy-in. So buy-in ni banyak community pun tak confident dengan kita lah. Dia ingat, macam juga agensi yang lain. Semuanya main, lepas tu buat, lepas tu balik habis cerita. Dah habis pula tu, habis tu masa lepas perasmian. Masa perasmian everyone wants to be there, everyone wants to be, dalam tangkap gambar lah, semua seronok nanti saja, habis balik dengan macam tu lah, yang tu lah. Orang Penang kata lah, yang tu. Okay.
Okay,
So,
Tuan Syed, ada soalan menarik daripada Dr. Edwina. Okay. Dia kata dia masih baru dalam CE. Jadi baru-baru ni I've been introduced about measuring social return of investment as a tool to measure impact for CE. What I found difficult is that there are no standardized or validated index as reference. Example, what is the value for having better mental health among children? Could you kindly advise on what to refer for this value in numbers?
Okay, so dia for example macam mental health, mental health. Mental health. For example, sekarang ni, at the moment due to the COVID-19 punya this one, a lot of people losing job and things like that, a lot of people committing suicide and things like that, number is increasing, things like that. Alright, so apa yang kita boleh buat to reduce this one? Alright, so at the university level, for example, kita ada counselors, on standby 24 hours for those who needs to be counseled. Alright, so kita tengoklah. So berapa orang yang student yang engage dengan counselors and things like that, means they have problem. So when they have problem, you have to reach out to them. Alright, so reaching out to them is one way of getting the numbers. Otherwise, you won't know. How do you know that people are going to jump from buildings? Kan? Until the last moment lah, you tengok dia dah duduk dekat balcony tu, itu problem lah. So, but preventive is one another thing. Alright, so you have to make sure things are available for them to go and assist, to be assisted. Alright, so tapi kalau dia tak ada avenue, for example, for to assist them, then I think they won't know. Alright, that is one way of knowing that problem exists and also to tackle the problem. Kalau tidak, kita susah lah. Alright, I think Prof. Amir is around, kan? Prof. Amir, are you around? Prof. Amir is
around, sir. I'm around.
Yeah. Can you respond to that, Prof. Amir?
What was the question again? I had a call from Prof. Sanjeev today.
Okay. Cik Hamzah, tolong baca soalan kat Prof. Amir tak?
Pandai Tuan Syed,
Dah, your area lah.
Ini soalan daripada Dr. Edwina.
She says, hi Tuan Syed, I'm very new to CE. Recently, I've been introduced about measuring social return on investment as a tool to measure impact for CE. What I found difficult is that there are no standardized or validated index as reference. Example, what is the value for having better mental health among children? Could you kindly advise on where or what to refer for this value in numbers? All right, Prof. Siddiq.
Okay, so that's a really nice question. Thank you very much. I think apparently you are right. Sekarang ni in terms macam Tuan Syed kata tadi lah, most of the ones that we measure is going to be in terms of economical impact because it's a bit easier to measure the social returns of investment. For health concerns, including mental health and other health issues, it's going to be mainly about behavior change. So dari segi behavior change nak measure tu, it varies depending on the illness and the issue that's at hand. Contohnya kalau we're talking about depression, dia ada dia punya variables. Kalau we're talking about mental well-being, dia ada variables yang lain. So at the moment kita tak ada lagi that I'm aware of very specific ways of measuring. Tetapi in terms of what we do on our side, we are going to measure things like the general change from one mental health status to another, so pre and post. Kadang-kadang kita akan tengok dari segi issues of access to health or treatment. That's another way of measuring behavior change. Ataupun mungkin kekurangan ataupun the lack of or the reduced number of people that actually visit certain institutions or katakan clinic for help contohnya. So these are ways that we can actually measure and then kita boleh quantify. Contohnya kalau you're going to see a clinic every week because of your health concern, and suddenly as a result of the change that you've done, you visit only once a month, then you've already got a saving there from the hospital point of view and also from the patient point of view. So these are some ways that you can actually measure in terms of indirect costs that will hopefully convince stakeholders that the intervention that you've done actually save money, save lives, and increase quality well-being. So these are a few ways that you can actually do it. Tapi betul, it's a bit challenging because macam juga Tuan Syed kata dan the whole talk, I think when we talk about the measurements tu, dia berbeza ikut projek. Tuan Syed, betul kan?
Betul.
Kalau we talking about health projects, dia punya the way that we measure dia punya change tu berbeza dengan contohnya economic projects, contohnya berbeza dengan mungkin educational projects. So I think the projects itself really determines what the measurements at the end too is actually dependent on the project, and I think that's the challenge that myself and I think Tuan Syed and all the other directors of BGIM, BKIM type of institutions are faced with. Mana Tuan Syed kita ni?
Thank you very much.
I takut nanti I pula kena present on your behalf ni Tuan Syed.
Tak apa, it's good. Okay. Dr. Zul, ada satu soalan daripada Dr. Zul. Tak dengar. Okay. Dr. Zul, mana soalan dia? Cik Hamzah.
Kira ada keluar dah, Tuan Syed.
Tak keluar pun. Okay, alright.
Mungkin satu soalan ke Tuan Syed. Tuan Syed nak bagi ke Dr. Zul atau ke Dr. Zamir? Sebab kita nak tamatkan pukul 11. Kalau boleh.
Bahawa kita untuk dijadikan polisi negara seterusnya membolehkan projek ini diteruskan oleh agensi. Berkaitan bahawa projek itu jadi for example yang projek-projek yang Dr. Zul laksanakan dengan OKU and things like that, I think we are moving into the right direction. I think this is how you influence kementerian untuk dijadikan polisi negara dan sebagainya. So we are moving towards that. I think apa yang telah dilaksanakan oleh Dr. Zul dan rakan-rakan di Kelantan dan sebagainya, I think you are moving in the right direction. So I think eventually it will become the polisi negara. I think banyak polisi-polisi yang telah kita kita influence yang telah memberi manfaat yang besar kepada OKU. So bagi saya tak ada masalah lah untuk. Alright, daripada Dr. Muhammad Zamir. Okay, how do we measure return of value in a translational project? Is there any standard ROV metric we can refer to? Alright, at the moment there is none. Okay, I should say. Okay, cuma sekarang ni apa yang kita tengah laksanakan, like I said just now, the SPA lah. The SPA is a social progress assessment tu, di mana kita actually nak measure how it has benefited the community, the nation, and also how much has it saved the government in terms of apa this one. So kita tengah bangunkan the standards, alright. InsyaAllah it should be ready by next month. InsyaAllah. Alright, thank you. Alright, saya rasa
saya boleh tambah sikit ke?
Ya.
Saya Zul. Tuan Syed, okey. Saya nak ambil peluang untuk highlight tentang projek contohnya futsal tadi. Okay, this is how we design CE project. Sebab selalu orang boleh tengok madu keluluk ke apa semua, dia ada produk, senang nak cerita. Tapi kalau sports ke semua jadi susah. Okay, kita ambil apa objektif utama untuk nak buat sport science tadi, ataupun at national level. Nombor satu, national level, apa yang kita nak? Mungkin kita nak sebenarnya adalah nak promote gaya hidup sihat di kalangan remaja. Maybe that's the goal. Okay, jadi misi atau medium yang kita nak guna adalah apa? Futsal. Okay, tapi BGIM ataupun agensi ataupun yang terlibat katanya, what is your innovation? So the innovation here could be you have come up with a module. Contohnya kalau nak main futsal, modul dia warm up macam mana. Okay, lepas pada tu you monitor health physiology, heart rate, everything. That can become a small booklet yang boleh ditransferkan knowledge tu kepada remaja-remaja yang kita nak bantu tadi. Okay, lepas pada tu and later on we want to enhance the project, we add on the component inside that. Okay, we equip the project with for example skipping, main skipping tu kita kata contohnya. Okay, jadi daripada situ kita have this module, kita ada ultimate goal kat national level. Jadi kita pun nak tarik industrial partner, so we can deal with owner of pusat-pusat futsal yang ada dekat Penang ke mana-mana tu, and then we invite them to collaborate with us. So set a collaboration project yang mana kita boleh naik signboard di pusat-pusat mereka sebagai pusat futsal komuniti bersama program inovasi bersama USM. So this is very good branding for them. So but we have kita dapat guna kita pun that facility juga, and then at the same time dia dapat branding, and then also penlibatan government agency pula kita boleh pull masuk Jabatan Belia dan Sukan. Then at the same time when we implement the project, we start to attract our student dekat sport science school or whatever school yang terlibat untuk guide the program nak deliver that module of warm up module of monitoring the physiology semua tu. And when we want to further expand the project later on, we might work with other school dekat USM untuk come up with the skipping yang mungkin boleh ada GPS tracker, for example, so that mak ayah tahu kat mana anak-anak dia, and then they can add on the technology, they can monitor how much anak-anak ataupun pelajar tu dah buat exercise by measuring that skipping. So this is how we expand from a small, kita kata alah main futsal je. No, there is a significant things that yang kita boleh buat untuk national level. I mean from dengan masalah remaja obesity ni, dengan masalah terlalu banyak indoor duk main komputer. So this program is good, but how we tailor this project untuk pastikan dia diterima sebagai CE. So apa yang kita nak tengok adalah satu, what is your national aim? Okay, to promote gaya hidup sihat. What is your medium? Futsal. What is your innovation? Or I have a module for warm up and then how to play and how to monitor your physiology. This is add-on knowledge yang you want to get. So what is your industrial partner? Ada futsal field owner dekat area Penang. And then what is your agency? Jabatan Belia dan Sukan. So this is the thing that you integrate everything. And how you want to expand project? Okay, I add on the skipping component where I involve the engineering school to add on the GPS detector and also monitoring of how much they already buat skipping tu. So this is, then it's become holistic project. Thank you.
Okay, terima kasih Dr. Zul atas perkongsian.
Thank you.
Sangat menarik skipping dengan GPS tu. Okay, sebab sama-sambil tu saya pun nak promote jugalah, alang-alang Dr. Zul dah mencelah tadi. Buat yang join hari ni, kalau terlepas perkongsian Dr. Zul pada 3 minggu yang lepas, boleh buka YouTube channel BGM USM. Boleh lihat semula rakaman pada sesi yang lepas lah. Sambil-sambil tu, saya nak kongsikan juga bahawa untuk warga USM, dia khas untuk warga USM lah. Jadi untuk warga USM, kita ada klinik community engagement. Kalau ada sebarang proposal ataupun projek yang nak dikemas kini, ditambah baik, boleh join lah klinik untuk community engagement ini. Jadi boleh buka di Facebook BGM USM, Innovation for Community, Inovasi, ataupun Facebook/BGM USM. Boleh tengok pin post ke atas sekali. Yang ni kita ada buat khas lah untuk Akademia USM untuk bersama-sama menambah baik kalau ada proposal yang lepas ataupun ada cadangan projek yang rasanya boleh ditengahkan, boleh ke depan, tapi mungkin impact ataupun dia punya output tu tak berapa nampak sangat, tak berapa jelas, boleh datang, boleh sertai klinik ni lah. Jadi untuk klinik ni, dia terbuka untuk warga USM dan boleh sediakan ni lah, boleh kontak nombor yang tertera kat sini, Encik Muhammad Nur Hazim ataupun Puan Nur Farahdina, boleh datang secara individu ataupun secara berkumpulan. Jadi masa terpulang lah untuk pilih masa masing-masing. Tak ada spesifik masa, contohnya pukul 10 pagi ke tak. Setkan temu janji lah dengan antara ni lah, dengan dua orang ni. Okey. Saya rasa daripada pihak saya tak ada apa-apa lagi. Jadi saya minta maaf sekiranya ada sebarang kekurangan sepanjang pelaksanaan sesi webinar ini. Namun begitu, saya nak tekankan lagi satu perkara bahawa untuk sesi hadapan kita akan sentiasa ada sesi-sesi CE yang lain. Inilah perkongsian libat sama Industri Komuniti pada masa yang lain. Keep update dengan inilah Facebook page BGM lah. Kita akan buat bahan juga sekiranya ada tambahan-tambahan yang lain lah. Untuk masa ni kita akan ada beberapa siri yang lain. Jadi kalau ada soalan yang tak sempat dijawab pada kali ini, boleh simpan soalan tu dulu untuk sesi-sesi seterusnya. Kita insya-Allah sesi ni sampai bulan 9 nanti sentiasa ada. Jadi itu sahaja. Mungkin ada sedikit kata-kata akhir daripada Tuan Syed sebelum kita tamatkan sesi.
Bukanlah kata-kata akhir.
Oh, sorry. Okey. Penutup, maaf.
Penutup, okey lah. Okay, thank you everyone for making time to listen to apa ceramah saya. I think ini adalah salah satu daripada inisiatif BGM untuk kita kongsikan bersama-sama dengan kawan-kawan. Dan like I say, kita bukan nak mengajar apa-apa. Okay, we are not here to teach you anything. We are just sharing, okay, the best practices of CE and how CE should be correctly done. So dengan itu saya sudahi dengan wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Thank you very much all.
Okay, terima kasih semua.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you Tuan Syed.
Thank you Dato'.